everybody. Welcome to All That Matters and More. Ikamala Mududu.
And I'm Komiki, and welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. But before Dudu and I dive right into it, we just wanted to give you guys a quick disclaimer and to let you know that the content we will be providing is for entertainment, educational, and informative purposes.
Yes, guys, that the information, opinions, as well as recommendations provided by us should be by no means considered as medical or professional advice.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? I'm literally good. I mean, we had a great morning, and we're both looking fabulous as always.
As always.
Standard. But yeah, man. Other than that, none right.
Okay, cool. No, girl, I'm okay. I feel like the year is speeding past us. Dude, like, it's a kind of but I guess we'll just kind of, we'll see ourselves when we get there, you know?
Sorry, I'm so fidgety today. I do not know why. Let me just try to calm down and relax.
All right,
but
cool.
Yeah, no, it has. And I think we've reached definitely our halfway mark. And I think it's in guys. If you were sleeping on yourself,
Vuga, honey, go do that introspection. Go check up on your goals. Just go check what is going on and how you're going to move forward. I think especially with everything that is going on in South Africa, it is just so important for you to figure out what you want to do and how you're going to move forward effectively, you know?
Exactly. And actually what you're touching on is quite important to the conversation that we're going to have, or the discussion that we will be having right at this moment.
Yeah, definitely. So I know we are just a little bit late, seeing as we took our unpaid leave, guys. But I do know that June 16 obviously is a little bit over. And I think obviously when we were discussing what we were going to talk about today, there's a significant picture that I saw. So basically they reenacted Hector Peterson in the day.
Yeah.
And it was basically just people with cue cards, just saying obviously unemployment, no jobs. And this other lady specifically was wearing her graduation gown, you know. And I think it's just so important as well to touch on what is going on in South Africa and how we as a youth, whose sole responsibility is it? Because I'm not going to lie to you, I think I definitely stand with the fact that it's the state's responsibility somehow to meet us halfway. For various reasons, you know what I'm saying? Of which then we'll get into that. But I think when I was seeing that, I actually sat down and I'm like, but whose responsibility is it? Yes, to a certain extent, right? You can say that it's yours, but not all the time, I feel.
Okay, so you saying primarily the cause of youth unemployment is the state.
Yeah, so that's where I stand, obviously, with that. And I was just thinking about, obviously, what's going on in South Africa and, what sort of things that I feel the government needs to do in order for us to, get to where we need to get to as a youth, and get to where we need to get to where, as an individual, you can be a lot more successful and impactful if you just have a little bit of extra backing.
No,
So that's where I'm at.
I think you and I have definitely touched on this conversation outside of being here, which I totally disagree. I think it's so redundant for us to continuously look towards a government that's generally not there to assist you in many ways.
Yeah.
And I think for the youth now, for Banabama 90s, to actually say, no, the government must create employment. They haven't created that. We are sitting with a government that failed to properly plan for their people. And in an event where when they introduced your BEE and the whole thing with the RAF and the panelist of attorneys, a lot of companies and Black-owned organizations benefited from that. So now we're looking at generation here, your 60s, your 70s, your early 80s benefited. And what did they do? They failed to plan ahead for Black children. Because I think
to continue that cycle
to continue the cycle of economic growth, for us. So for me, it's just as kids now, we need to sit, or as adults now, we need to look back and say, guys, what can we do to better equip ourselves? And I think for me, the biggest thing is for us to equip ourselves with entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial skills and finding ways to enter into markets and stop solely relying on the government that is not doing much.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I think my point of view comes from the fact that, it's very tough sometimes to do things on your own.
Agreed.
I just think that if certain forms and structures were in place, it would just give you a little bit of, I also don't want to necessarily say like motivation and all of that, because that should come from within. But for example, if maybe the government could provide us with more like resources, for us to obviously have just a little bit of an affordability when it comes to accessing a few more things, for example, like such as libraries, when you think about when you think about how yes, okay, for example, right, the libraries are there, but do we know how to effectively equip and use them effectively, So I think that the government should be able to provide resources where, number one, I know it's difficult, but where we can all have access to them, and have access to them in such a way that it will be as much as maybe I'm in the middle class or someone is in the lower class, it will be just a lot more effective for everybody, like across the board. So I think that also maybe certain things that can be put in place is like a lot more opportunities, I guess, once we are done with school. I think that the government also, another thing that maybe they could have done, or I mean, I can't really say do now because it's hectic, but rather done maybe is looked at how other first world countries are doing things. I'm not saying that implement everything, but maybe take a few ideas, look at what we are dealing with in South Africa, okay, and how the youth operates in South Africa, maybe implementing certain ideas to be like, okay, we can do this, we can do that, or we can do this, or we can do that, I just feel as if though with the extra resources, that would be a little bit better. For example, when we're done studying, it's like all up to you. We don't necessarily all have the means to do what we can do. And even if you do have the means, you would just like to know that, okay, cool, I do have the means, but if there's a little bit of extra support, or if there's maybe like an effective program that I can go into, if there's maybe like a certain structure or a plan, or for example, if departments work together, for example, like if the educational department, I'm going to use us, worked with like the health department, just to be like, okay, maybe we can roll out certain programs in school to be like, hey, career day, if you want to do this after work, after school, this is what you can do once you're done studying. Then we know that we also have those opportunities to go into those specific departments where they will be ready for us to be like, okay, this person has studied, or they necessarily don't know what they want to do. How can we give them the proper information and equip them with the knowledge, just so you can be like, okay, this is good, I can do this. Okay, oh no, maybe this is not what I want to do. Let me go to another department, find a bit more information, Okay. So I just feel like sometimes, to a certain extent, I'm not going to go too much into this. Yes, it is just a little bit limited because we are all not on the same level. But maybe just trying to find a gap in order for them to try and accommodate everybody as best as they can. Then it would be a lot more different, No,
I hear you, but I totally feel like, and to touch on what you just said, right? Yeah. The entrepreneurial spirit, right, within South Africa is the lowest, not even among African countries itself. Yeah. You get like your Ghanas and Malawis, which is something that they're encouraging. In schools, they encourage, they educate their learners on that, right? Yeah, and I feel like now we have institutions and universities that do educate individuals on graduateness, or in terms of whatever module you're doing. I think they kind of slightly are introducing ways in which you can like do that and focus on building yourself. Yeah. And like you touched on, for me, I just feel like a lot of university students, when they leave, their sole purpose is, I want to get a job at a private or a public sector. And that's the goal, and that's the main thing. Yeah. And I think, and I'm saying that because I'm looking at a group of my friends, people I went to university with, know, and people you just genuinely know, where not a lot of us aren't starting up things. You know? And as you understand, probably there are lack of resources, but some of those things don't require much. As much as, yes, finances are a problem, you getting access to capital could potentially be a problem. But what are other means in which you can do, right? You can provide a service. You can find ways. And we know we have NYADA with the government. We know that, what is it? I think the Department of Public Enterprise, right? Yeah. They created structures for youth in a way they can benefit from learning all those skills. Yeah. And I think we need to literally want to make the change in our lives. We are sitting right now in a country where youth unemployment rate is continuously rising. And the problem is that there are no like small or medium enterprises that are playing their role. We are not creating stuff. We are all just waiting for government to move magic. It can't happen. They can't do magic. As maybe by amasangoma, but and create, I don't know, but that's not happening. And it's just literally saying that the private sector needs to play a role, but not just that. We, as the young ones, need to equip ourselves with information. That means we need to look for information. Information won't just come to us. And it's touching on libraries, like literally every single township, every single suburban area has a library. There's one thing umuntu cannot fault. Libraries are still there. You can literally go. They open Monday to Friday. I don't know if somebody can say, no, mina, election lami, kwenzekale. But if there's a collapse of such an institution, it's because of the residents. Either they're failing to utilize it or they don't see the need to utilize it. And I think it's a high time where you stop saying the government, they failed. We are sitting with the government that's failed. And it's just like now up to you as a graduate, even if you're not a graduate, but just to be like, how can I better my life? And if it means me bettering my life, I need to go into my community and find ways to equip my community. And then let's start there. And sorry to like also going into another thing there. And it's also just saying, if you look at most businesses in township areas, it's mostly foreign businesses. And for us South Africans, youth South Africans, to sit there and not see that as a cause for concern, that's the biggest concern, that these are the issues that we need to tackle. Why is everybody so comfortable? And I'm not saying now don't support or whatever, but to say, if Umam Chabalala has a store, why am I so comfortable to go to my friend when I can just go to Umam Chabalala? Because what happens is, if you support Umam Chabalala, eventually her organization will grow. And with her growing, soon she'll be employing people within the community. Same with youth businesses. That's where we need to go and find ways to say, how can I start this? How can I implement this particular idea and allow that idea to grow and hire more people who are, within the youth age, and then just start growing from there. And I think that's not what we're doing. Yes, there are businesses that are coming up, which is really great. But the biggest thing is the manufacturers are not in South Africa. You're still sending your money outside. So, there's just so many things that our youth needs to work on, and just finding ways and equipping themselves with knowledge and seeking extensive knowledge to better, equip themselves essentially with entrepreneurial skills and stop focusing on looking for a job. Because I don't think our universities, back in the apartheid regime, it worked to have people go in and study and look for jobs. But now things need to change. The times need to change. Our adults didn't do much for us. So we need to do much for the generation that's yet to come.
So I just think, in my opinion, I would just say that it is support. I 100, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get where you're coming from as well. But sometimes a little bit of like added, like additional support does also go a long way, Unfortunately, the government has failed us 110%. I will say this openly and honestly, And I just think it's just the way that they need to change, and they need to realize that if now an individual, like you're saying, if we as the youth now decided that you want to take it upon yourself to do something really great and amazing, imagine what would happen if you had that extra support. Or imagine, for example, what would happen is if, let's say, for example, you've opened up a business now, and then you manufacture everything here. Like, literally everything is done in South Africa. You don't even need to go overseas because all of the resources are here. Imagine what an amazing and ripple effect it can have. Because then you can tell that person, hey, go to this department. There are these papers that you'll sign. And when that person gets there, it's a quick and easy thing. So now you're just not just only equipping the other person, but then they can also equip the next person, and so on and so forth. But all I'm just saying is that added support would be a lot more better. And I think if things were just a little bit more efficient, and like, I obviously I know what I'm saying. I'm like, maybe fighting a losing battle, angazi. Maybe like, I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, guys, I know maybe like, like fighting a losing battle. But when I just sometimes think about, like, do we know what hard work is, go? Like, we definitely know what hard work is. But if maybe the ideas that you and I have either had before or after we met each other, or certain things that we would have wanted to do. Even now, if you think about your circumstance and your situation, even at home, if you think about maybe if you want to open up a business, there's certain papers that you need to fill out, there's certain things that you need to do. Imagine what that would do if you just had a little bit of extra support from the state. I'm not saying that the state doesn't have to do everything. Okay, guys? Like, okay, yes, the state must do, but not everything. Like, that one is unfortunately not going to happen. But just a little bit of support, like the efficiency, the effectiveness of certain things happening, you know, like when you hand in your papers now, for example, it's not a thing of when you go do a follow-up, they can say, no, your papers are so forth and like everything is coming along. But, we see you've missed this, so come back with this. So all I'm just saying is I think the state should, to a certain extent, it should have been accommodating us to give us that support in order for us to be like, okay, I want to do this. It can move effectively and efficiently. Okay, cool. I've got support. So let me also go, you know?
No, with there's some parts where I do agree with you in terms of, but mostly it's the policies are there, they put into work. Human element is an error. Whereas clearly, whichever new political party steps into play, they literally need to do their work in terms of the individuals that they are hiring to do the work. If it means they have to remove everybody, so be it. And just start again from scratch, you know. But for me, it's just to say that as young people, we need there's resources that are out there. I think there's institutions like SIDA or SEDA, I don't know how they pronounce it. They help you with your business plan, and it is a government institution, I believe. But I think we have a couple of those, you know. It's just if things are not moving, it's because of the human error and the corruption that lines with that. But ideally, the South African youth, I do not want to say this word, but I think everybody knows what it is that. You know, so I just kind of feel like we truly are lazy. You know, if I put it into and I think we just need to remove ourselves from that and actually start literally when we're going to school to learn, to seek out those things and want to learn about entrepreneurship. I know, yes, you'll get it in a module, which is very small. Obviously, that's where the government can come in and universities can also step in to actually create a structure for entrepreneurship and have that in there so that people understand what it is and what it requires and how you can that. And to some extent, I think I was watching an interview and somebody was just like, we need to have less podcasters and have more individuals working with their skills. And that's also another thing. We don't have skill centers and people need to look at that. We can't all be podcasters. We can't all be makeup artists or influencers.
Doctors,
No, we can be doctors, but there's not a lot of doctors. But, you know,
for
everybody
example,
wants
like a medical doctor.
Yeah, but everybody wants to be an influencer. I mean, you know, everybody wants to be a number one hit piano artist. And it's just saying, let's remove ourselves from that. But let's find skills where you are able to use your hands and you're able to do much more. If you can create a pot plant, if you can create a cupboard, if you can create a pattern for a tiling or just use your hands for, what is this thing?
Pottery.
Definitely let that be that. And I think we are sitting with the youth that hasn't tapped into that. And where there's skills that are out there that we need to use. And I'm just like literally hoping that, you know, South Africa's partnership with BRICS literally provides fruition to so many things, you know.
And make it just a little bit better.
Just to make it a little bit better. And like we can just learn from different countries, more so China, I think for me, and we'll see how do they grow the youth to become so innovative in the projects that they do from a young age. And, you know, that's what we're hoping for. And just like Nigeria, who are teaching, you know, from primary to secondary to university, have a structured plan of entrepreneurship, because I think that's the only way we could eradicate the high numbers of unemployment if we get literally people thinking out of the box. Let's think out of the box and let's kind of like make it work.
And I guess, I mean, to a certain extent, the government will support you. But I do understand if you do take that initiative and stuff, maybe who knows, if you actually do decide to take that initiative, then the support will just come a lot more easier because you would have done all of the work. But I think the government, yes, they do have a lot of work to do. But like, I think not even majority of the time, but it just would have been so good. I'm so sorry. I'm probably beating around the bush and repeating myself. It just would have been really good to kind of get that support and solid structure from the government in order for us to move forward and for you to want to do something and have it be done quickly and efficiently in order for you to get to where you need to in a successful manner, you know, in a place where you can grow as well, and for you to obviously find success, I guess, in whatever you decide to do. Yeah. So I guess those are my last words.
Yeah, essentially those are mine as well. But I think the biggest thing is to just have like become an agent for change, seek change, want change, as well as like creating and promoting an entrepreneurial culture, guys. I think that's the biggest thing. Like allow individuals access to mentorship, to job shadowing. Let there be a partnership. I think also just like, you know, our elders to actually just step in and play that role.
Yeah.
And for the community as well. If there's literally a young kid doing something, support them, guys. Because when an individual grows, then a lot of people around them grow. Like instead of us going to buy things at Checkers, or not that I'm saying you guys shouldn't go buy things at Checkers, but if Bunomalume on his Spaza or Karabo just started as Spaza, support Karabo's Spaza.
Yeah, you don't have to do it always, but I guess you can support. Yeah, and guys, like I think whatever resources are definitely out there, go out there, guys, and look for the resources. I still do believe that government should be providing us these things. But even if they don't necessarily do it as quickly and as efficiently as they do, you guys, I think we all have the rights and we are entitled to get some sort of help whenever we do need it. Yeah. So, yes, guys, I guess that's definitely from Dudu and I. You've got a perspective of her just promoting individuality and mentorship and entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship, girl.
Just the okay,
abantu bayazi ukuthi cabangani ningahlali lapha nicabanga izinto ezirong nje, just think.
Okay, so she just said basically individuality and obviously just tapping into the true essence of entrepreneurship in order for you to effectively be successful and to equip others in the future. Yeah. And then as of me today, my viewpoint was very different. I was all about the government and how I feel as if though the state should be providing effective and structural support in order for us to get to where you need to be and to prosper. So yeah,
guys, I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It was actually a bit calmer than most conversations we have. So literally, if you have any questions or any input that you'd like to have, I did tell you that the girl switched up. You can definitely catch us at info@mattersandmore.co.za.
Yes, guys. Also, no pressure when you do get time and you do definitely check us out on YouTube. Please do definitely hit that like button, subscribe, and then tell all of your family members, your friends, your cousins,
your colleagues
that Matters and More, the It Girls at the moment. And you guys can also check us out on Instagram on Matters and More. Please do not feel afraid or hesitate to engage with us. Talk to us, guys, about the topics that you want to hear about, potential guests that you also would love to see on the show, and we will also take that into consideration.
Yes, guys, and that's it from us. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to introduce today's guest. We are sitting down with Dr. Primrose Phakute, who's the product research consultant for Ivory Group of Companies. And today she's here with me so we can discuss about their wonderful range of products, which are organic, plant-based, and natural. You just have to love that. So how are you, Dr. Primrose?
Very well, thank you, Tutu, and thank you so much for having me. Today, I just want to take this opportunity and speak about natural plant-based product, organic products. And one thing amazing is that Ivory Group of Companies have done a long research and with the aim of taking people back into natural living. So we have 3 types of products. We have the natural foods, we have the skincare, and we have plant-based supplements. So I'm just going to start by talking about the 3 types of supplements that we have. We have one that is called Main Power. The Main Power is what keeps a home very beautiful. It is used by men men so that they don't snore at night and forget that we are next to them. So it's a beautiful product. This is the product that 10 capsules inside. So you take one a week and you don't have to take it every day. And one thing good about this, as I am saying, all our products, they're organic and natural. So it also help with prostate cancer. It has what is called it helps with the stamina, and it also help with stimulate blood circulation, and it also help with prostate cancer. So this is a blast performance. Yes, men, they do have natural performance, but this gives them a
booster.
It's a booster so that you can go back to be 16 years old and do 3 times, 4 times, and all that. Then we have one beautiful product that is called Immunoplex. The Immunoplex, it's an immune booster. It focuses on boosting the immune system, because we need to be very aware that when your mind, your soul, and your body is fatigued, you cannot function. There are a lot of things, the food we eat, they compromise on our immune system. The stress, the environment, there are a lot of things that compromises on our immune system. And definitely, we as we are growing, we have a lot of sickness around and all that. So this, it protect and it support our immune system. So we have the moringa powder, we have the moringa tea as well. But the moringa, it's the same thing. It's either powder, it's either tea and all that. It's made out of the moringa leaf, because moringa comes as a leaf. So it comes as a powder. So we use the same powder in making tea. We use the same powder in making capsules. So with these capsules, these are natural nutrients. There are things that we cannot get from food. But you know that if you cannot eat organic, at least you can drink organic. You can support, you can have nutrients from organic things. So this, it has all the types of nutrients.
And the health benefits as well.
And the health benefits as well. And we have skin products. Our skin products, we have coconut oil, which you can use it for the body, for the face, and for the hair as well. And we have our selling product, which is called the African Rose Shea Butter in a lip balm and in this type. This is wonderful. This has what is called a scently smell. The smell of this shea butter, it's healing, it's therapeutic, it's calming, it's soothing the skin. So we use this, it has medicinal benefits. You can use this with migraine, with eczema, with a lot of things. You can use this product. And Ivory Group is not focusing on selling. It's focusing on empowering people to say, you don't have to sit there and say, I don't have a job. You need to come out and do something. So we do training for people. How can you become your own person? How can you become your own boss? So we always do training to empower the youth to say, come in. If you want to be trained on raw materials, on selling shea butter, we can train you to say, oh, I can become an expert on knowing what shea butter is, where is it coming from, what are the benefits, and you go out there and start selling. So once you are a member of Ivory Coast, you are a distributor, we give you this product at the lowest and the lowest price. So we put you on our website. This is our distributor in Northern Park, in Kempton Park, in all these kind of areas. We can put you there. So guys, let's wake up. Let's do something and earn money for ourselves.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, I just love that. And just to touch on the lip balm, guys. So this is something that I definitely use, and I just really love how smoothing it is on my lips. And it just also helps with healing and removing the dead skin. Just repairing it and just rejuvenating your lips. So definitely try it out. And yes, guys, one thing, Doctor, you touched on, I love the fact that with the Ivory Group of companies, you guys are actually providing people with the opportunity to actually become, their own bosses, to run their own businesses. And I think that's something that we were definitely touching on today, myself and Gomiki, to say, as the youth, we need to go out there and look for those opportunities for ourselves, and not just look, but create. And I think this is just a perfect place to start. So I think for more information, like the doctor said, you can definitely check them out on their website, www.ivorygroupofcompanies.co.za, and you can definitely tune into their Instagram and Facebook, because they're definitely there. And yes, guys, that's it from us.